Okay, guys, today I'm going to talk to you about inferences. You probably have gone over them in, probably fifth grade or fourth grade, maybe, but we're going to talk about them this year. Also, especially in social studies, we're going to talk about how to use inferences to kind of think like a historian or think like an archaeologist. It's a very important skill. So we're going to use this sheet. It's just kind of an introductory to what is an inference. So let me just kind of read this to you. So it says writers, what is an inference? Writers don't always come out and tell you what they mean. Often you have to infer or draw a conclusion based on clues in the text. This is sometimes called reading between the lines. Here are just two examples. Okay, Max looks longingly at Rosie's fries and asks, "Are you going to finish those?" You can infer that Max wants to eat Rosie's fries. Okay, that's a pretty easy one. Next one, Kai pointed it at a sign across the street. "Does that say museum?" he asked. "I don't know," Jaden muttered. "I wish I'd paid more attention in French class." The writer gives clues that Kai and Jaden are in a French speaking city. Okay, so um, I'm just gonna. So again, you're just making guesses based on evidence that you're gathering. It could be reading a text like we're doing now. It could be watching a video. It could be watching a movie. You guys use inferences all the time, especially like think about it. When you come in the house and your parents are giving you a look, you pretty much know right away if they're mad at you. They may not come out and tell you they're mad at you, but you could just tell by the look on their face. Um, you can tell sometimes by the tone of someone's text. Okay, if someone texts you, you can just sort of tell, like, ooh, they sound a little irritated in that text. Okay, they don't come out and tell you they're irritated, but you can infer by the evidence that you gather, by the word choice they use, you have to infer that maybe they're a little angry with you or something like that. Okay, we make inferences all the time. Okay, so again, it's unspoken words, and you have to make guesses. So here's a couple practice ones. So the first one right here, oops, um, let's see if this works. Right here, number one. Okay, at the door, Lena searched her purse. She pulled out her wallet, hairbrush, gum, earbuds, and pens. She found everything except the one thing she needed. Frustrated, she sat down on her front porch and waited for her brother. You can infer that Lena A prefers a different kind of gum, B needs a new purse, C lost her keys, or D is mad that her brother is late. So what do you think? Well, I think most of you would probably guess that she has lost her keys. Okay, so she's pulling everything out. The best guess would probably be that she can't find something. All right. Number two, Jose threw his backpack down and ran to the stack of mail on the counter. His hands trembled as he held up a thin white envelope. Okay, you can infer that. Okay, so he's running up, he finds some mail, his hands are trembling. That's a key word right there as he held up a thin white envelope. You can infer that A, Jose gets interesting letters every day. B, Jose already knows what this letter says. C, Jose doesn't want to read the letter. Or D, Jose is nervous about this letter. So what do you think it is? Okay, you would probably infer that he is nervous about this letter. The word "trembled" is kind of a giveaway, but that's how we make inferences. We look at the evidence. We go, well, he's trembling. Okay, doesn't have anything to do. We don't know if it's interesting or not. It doesn't sound like he's relaxed. He may not want to read the letter, but he's definitely nervous about the letter. Okay, number three. "This will hurt only for a second," Dr. Thomas said while preparing the shot. Ava squeezed her eyes shut and gripped her paper gown. What conclusion can you draw? Do you think Ava has the measles? Do you think she's never been to the doctor before? Do you think she's scared of getting shots? Or do you think she doesn't like Dr. Thomas? Think about that for a second. Well, I'm sure, like most of you, Ava probably is scared of getting shots. Okay, the evidence we gather here is, well, there's a doctor and it says there's a shot. It says this will hurt only for a second. You probably have heard that before, I'm sure. And she squeezed her eyes shut and she's gripping her paper gown. Sounds like she's really tense. Okay, so it's probably she's scared. And then the last one, when Boomer heard the car pull into the driveway, he bounded off the couch and wagged his tail excitedly. The front door opened and Boomer leaped onto Eddie, licking his face and knocking him over onto his suitcase. You can infer that Boomer, well, hopefully you infer that it's a dog and not a person, okay, because of the tail wagging. That would be a little weird if it's a person. So, what can you infer? Is Boomer upset that Eddie went away without him? Is he glad that Eddie is back from a trip? Does Boomer knows Eddie has a treat for him? Or D, Boomer is always as happy when Eddie returns? Well, it could be a number of these things, but with the evidence that we have, the best choice would probably be um, B. He's glad that Eddie is back from a trip. Okay, because he hears the car pull in the driveway, he jumps off the couch. Okay, and then there's a suitcase. So the suitcase is kind of another piece of evidence to show that um, he was probably on a trip somewhere. Okay, and the dog is just really excited to see him. Okay, so as you guys are going to be watching the let's see part two, I want you to sort of be, you should try to make some inferences along the way. For instance, an inference might be, okay, well, let's see, has this copper axe. Okay, and it's kind of it's kind of a really, it's a nice axe. So you might infer that because it's a copper axe, and copper was probably pretty valuable back then. Maybe he's someone of high importance. He's not whatever society, whatever tribe maybe he came from. He's probably someone of high importance to be carrying around that copper axe. Or an inference, the fact that there was an arrow in his back. I think you guys could probably make an inference. Like, what inference would you make the fact that they found an arrow in his back? Well, you can make several inferences. Number one, that he was probably murdered. You could also infer that maybe somebody was angry with him. Okay, maybe somebody wanted revenge or wanted to take him out, maybe because he had a position of power. We don't know those answers, but it definitely raises questions. Okay, and that's the whole point of making inferences. So while you guys are watching the let's see part two today, kind of just ask some questions, make some inferences, and then we'll talk about that later. But okay, thanks for watching. And then so now you guys are going to be doing your ed puzzle. Let's see, the Iceman part two.